Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave got its release date this week and a brand new trailer, but it also officially kicked off its marketing campaign as we head closer and closer to its launch on the 19th of September. And we just got our first look at the brand new class, the Orneus Rider, thanks to this video posted on the official Fire Emblem Twitter, where we see the new class jumping over a small wall with the description reading it can jump over obstacles. So this chicken rider class has the ability to hop over smaller obstacles, but cannot stand on them like a regular flying class would in the traditional Fire Emblem format. This also begs the question, will there be different sizes obstacles in the games and walls that only flyers will be able to fly over and that the Orneus Rider won't be able to leap over? I would personally assume so given this new class and this brand new feature, but a class that can somewhat make abstraction of some of the terrain in this way would be a first for Fire Emblem. So while this is a very exciting feature revealed about this new class, this tiny gameplay trailer reveals a few other things beside that. First and foremost, and most interesting to me, Kai seems to now have two crests. The crest of Aubin, which has been well documented since the first trailer, but now also the crest of Gautier, it seems. Significantly enough, after the second trailer was released, a screenshot was posted on the eShop showing that Theodora also had the crest of Gautier available to her. This might indicate that crests don't work exactly like they did in Three Houses. It may be showing a system where certain elements may allow players to add or remove crests from a unit, or in Kai's case, it could be a story significant, as in the first trailer where we see him with only the crest of Aubin, he has his normal golden yellow eyes, while here in this particular clip, he has the red eyes, which indicates that something changed in him during this story, which could explain the crest of Gautier, but it could also just be a story-driven thing, given that both Kai and Theodora are main characters. Maybe something with the crest of Gautier is central to the plot of Fortune's Weave. We still do not know. And I don't think it's something to do with weapons, as Kai is currently holding an iron sword, an iron lance, and a javelin, very standard basic weaponry for Fire Emblem. And in that screenshot, Theodora seems to be holding a special lance, so I think those are unrelated. On the note of weapons, we do see this yellow icon to the side of the lance weapons. This seems to indicate that using lances increases your riding rank in this class, but swords don't seemingly. At least that's what I'm getting from it, because it is further supported that at the start of the clip where we see the XP bar of what this class provides, we see the lance, the rider, and the flying icon. So while weapon usage might be as wide as in Three Houses, where every unit can use basically every weapon, or to some extent, there seems to be downside to not efficiently using the right weapon in certain classes. So that's an interesting little detail to note. In this clip, we also see both Lita and Kai, two of the protagonists, on the same map. However, Lita and one of her retainers are in green here, indicating that in certain chapters, our protagonists will have to align their causes and will have to team up in the arena during the tournament. Weirdly enough, these don't seem to function like normal green units, as they are grayed out on the player phase, indicating the ability to use them, acting more as a guest character than traditional green units. Additionally, on Lita's weapon icon, you show a purple sword, which is the same icon as the Virokin seen in the second trailer. While I initially believe that this was a unique type of sword, I now believe this might be a unique weapon type, available only to certain characters, Lita being one of them, because the weapon she seems to be holding is not a sword at all, doesn't look like it. And in the second trailer, we saw the weapon in question required sword and axe rank to yield. So are we getting a new weapon type in Fortune's Weave? Let me know what you think below. We also see that Kai seems to stand on a bush that grants 20 plus avoid, which isn't crazy given Fire Emblem. It's very traditional in the series. But to me, with the amount of those similar textures we see on this little map here, it seems to indicate that they are heavily using terrain tiles, which I thought were a little lacking in a lot of the Three Houses map. So to me, that makes me hopeful on the map design compared to Three Houses, which I did not like. Finally, from this little clip, the last thing that we can glean is the minimap and side of the map layout, which seems to confirm my theory that a lot of these maps, at least for a portion of the game, seem to take place on the same squared arena, that being the tournament, most likely. The size of a lot of the minimaps seem to be similar, with the corners being at an angle. What seems to change is the layout on each map, probably lending itself to a different gimmick or angle to complete your objective and showcase different sorts of trials in the tournament. This has me a little on edge, at the risk of reusing too many maps like in Three Houses and the design suffering from that, but if they make each layout or gimmick different enough and engaging enough, this might actually work to keep me interested long enough. We also got new tidbits of information about the game coming via some other tweets. The first revealed that Dagda was a continent entrusted to Emperor Dagus. Some of these names may be rough translations, so they might not exactly be the right one, since this account is all in Japanese and I'm using the Twitter built-in translation system. And that this event happened roughly 1500 years ago. The empire composed of 3 nations, which I assume are the 3 kingdoms on the map: Arago, Brizarant, and Saramis, most likely all vying for power within the larger Dagdam Empire. This tweet clarifies that Saramis, Theodora's kingdom, is part of the empire, probably meaning her homeland's long-held dream she talks about in the trailer that they are trying to fulfill is to either win the tournament or bring Saramis as a dominating force within the empire, or something along those lines, because as you see on the map, it seems to be more remote of a area from the capital, so I could see that being the idea here. This nation struggling in terms of status compared to the others, but that is just me speculating. It all remains to be seen. It also concords with the calendar we see in the trailer with the year 1449, which can be roughly averaged to 1500 years, you know, just a rough estimate. Some people had been speculating online that this game was a sequel set some 300 years after the events of Three Houses due to this same calendar, but this tweet pretty much confirms that Dagda operates on a wholly different calendar system based around the establishment of the Dagdam Empire or something that happened within that timeline. While we know the Three Houses one is based around the Adrestian Empire's beginning. This doesn't invalidate a sequel theory, it just means that the idea of sequel versus prequel remains as muddied as it was initially. Another tweet focusing on Kai revealed that his Japanese VA being Daiki Yamashita and saying that his life turns around on his 15th birthday, which I would assume is when the events of the game begin for him, either with the imprisonment of his father or when he gets the gem in his hand, which is seen in the trailer. This tweet also reveals a few of his hobbies, those being exercise and catching animals. The final piece of information that we got this week after the trailer drop comes via the eShop, where a new paragraph was added to the Dagdan edition description. But the most significant sentence there is that we pretty much have a confirmation that you can explore beyond the walls of Daxian and train your team that way. This, paired with the Echo style dungeon crawling we saw in the trailer, pretty much confirms the return of that mechanic, which has me and other fans of Fire Emblem Echoes pretty excited. Of note, at the time of recording this video, pre-orders for the special editions are available once again on the eShop, at least in Canada. If they aren't anymore by the time this video goes up and you're watching, I'm sorry, please don't hurt me. I do not work at Nintendo, I cannot help you. But this pretty much sums up all the new information we received this week concerning Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. I'll be following the game's coverage quite closely and try to post a video every Friday, whether that is one like this or a short where I summarize all the new information we received throughout the week about this upcoming game that I'm super excited about. So hit the subscribe button to not miss anything and like the video if it was informative to you in any way, shape, or form. Thank you all for watching. Huge shout out to all my members, but a special shout out goes out to my tier 2 and 3 members, those being Brawler456, Forgotten Fox, Hirame, The Wolfman, Stormy Gold CH, Stylish, A Grumpy Bear, Reploid, El Bunker, Faith Kiera, Santo Show, and Case. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.